Rent is a rock musical that tells a story of a group of impoverished young artists and musicians struggling to survive and create in New York's Lower East Side in the thriving days of Bohemian Alphabet City, under the shadow of HIV/AIDS. Rent was originally produced in New York City by New York Theater Workshop and on Broadway by Jeffrey Seller, Kevin McCollum, Alan S. Gordon, and New York Theater Workshop. Music, book, and lyrics by Jonathan Larson. Musical arrangements by Steve Skinner. Original concept and additional lyrics by Billy Aronson. Music supervision and additional arrangements by Tim Wheel. Dramaturg by Lynn Thompson. The Lakeside Civic Players production of Rent is presented through special arrangements with Music Theater International.
Hi, I'm Claudette Reed. I'm a member of the Portage City Council and the PMN Board. Today I have the opportunity to interview the producer of the Ludington version of Rent, Josh Thomas. Hi, Josh.
Hi.
Josh, you are our director and you're also a member of the cast. What was your background in theater?
I majored in theater at Saginaw Valley State University in Saginaw, Michigan. I had done theater in high school, and I had done some community theater shows while I was in high school, and that really got me a passion for theater, and so I decided I would try and make it my career. Unfortunately, it never came a career, and it's still just a hobby at the moment, but it's a great hobby to have. Keeps me busy.
Okay. Are you from Ludington?
I graduated from Ludington High School. I'm actually from a lot of different places. My dad was in the Army growing up, so I moved all over the place. Louisiana, Kentucky, New Hampshire, Missouri, Michigan. So I did graduate from Ludington, though, and that I've spent more time in Ludington than anywhere else. So I like to consider myself from Ludington.
Rent was produced by the Lakeside Players, a fairly new theater group. How did the group get started?
Well, in 2009, Heather Vensky, who's the downtown coordinator for the city of Ludington, approached me and asked if I would be interested in helping start a community theater for downtown Ludington. She had heard that I had come back home and that I was involved in theater in college, and she really had been involved in some things in community theaters in the past too, and really had a passion for theater. So we got a board together. We put together a board and decided we would try and make something happen downtown, because there was stuff at the college already and stuff at the Ramsdale and Manistee, but nothing in downtown Ludington. So we had been driving all over the place just to be involved in theater. We wanted to get something right here in our own town. So in 2010, we were able to produce our first night of one acts, and we raised a couple $100. We had no budget at the time, so we raised a couple $100, and we're able to just keep doing little things from there on out until eventually we were able to get here.
What's the relationship between the Lakeside Players and the Ludington Area Center for the Arts?
The Lakeside Civic Players, we're basically the theater group. We're the theater company, if you want to call it that, or the community theater. We could go anywhere in town and perform a play, and we would still be the Lakeside Civic Players. The Ludington Area Center for the Arts has been gracious in letting us basically use this as a home. So we're their in-house theater company. We've produced everything we've ever done here. So they're our home. And so that's basically our relationship, is that they've really come through. And they're also the nonprofit for which we can exist, because we're not our own nonprofit. Now we're in the process of doing that right now, of becoming our own nonprofit. That way we don't really have to rely on anybody for anything. We can just do things on our own. And we want to branch out and do some different things, maybe do some different things, different places and things like that. So
Now, Rent was considered a controversial play. Why is that?
it's not so much anymore. Maybe in Ludington it definitely was, because Ludington is still, we're still a small town. We're a town of about 8,000 people. So the bigger city, at the time it was written, it definitely was. Nobody was talking about AIDS.
As it broadcasts the words, actual reality, act up, fight AIDS!
My T cells are low. I regret that news, okay? Because reason says I should have died 3 years ago. But if you're so wise, then tell me, why do you need smack? Take your needle, take your fancy prayer. Don't forget, get the moonlight out of your hair.
Deals with drug addiction and sex and all that fun stuff that nobody wants to talk about, but is there. You know, it's out there in the world, but they just would rather just cover it up and not talk about it. But really, things have changed. Really, recently, you've seen a big shift in how people feel, especially about homosexuality.
Hey, mister, she's my sister. Well, hurry back.
Sisters?
We're close.
Are we a thing? Darling, we're everything. Live in my house, and I'll be your shelter. Just pay me back with 1,000 kisses.
You can see all the different states that are passing the same-sex marriage laws and things like that, which is wonderful. Things like this show that used to be such a kind of a taboo subject is really becoming a popular thing. I mean, we are doing the show here. We did expect some kind of backlash, and we didn't get a lot, which really it was great. It was a great thing. But it deals with homosexuality. It deals with drug addiction and sex. But it's not about that. I mean, it was actually based on it was loosely based on La Boheme, the opera. But at the time La Boheme was written, they were dealing with tuberculosis. So when Rent was written, we were dealing with AIDS. So that was basically when Jonathan Larson wrote it. He was using his voice and thought, this is the time to do it. Let's get people talking about AIDS and get people talking about the issues that we're dealing with in the society. And it does take place in New York, but it's something that all societies deal with. So it's great.
Okay, a lot of support from the community.
Oh, yeah.
And how have they reacted, the community?
Better, way better than we could have expected. I mean, we're putting on a really good show, so that helps when you come to see a show and you're entertained. But we're dealing with some pretty heavy subjects here, too. And to have people come in and actually be able to pick up on those subjects and not be blinded just by the talent that's on stage, but also be able to respect the things that we're talking about as a group and the things that we're trying to portray for the community.
Without you, life goes on, but I'm gone, 'cause I die without you.
You know, we really want to change this community. We really want to be a change for good.
No pension, to more than one dimension. People starving for attention, hating convention, hating pretension. Not to mention, of course, hating dear old mom and dad. Riding your bike midday past the 3 lanes. To fruits, to no absolute, to absolute, to choice, to the village boy, to any passing fad.
We've gotten all kinds of positive feedback. I mean, really, really positive feedback. We had a couple little things here and there, and you know, Facebook is wonderful for causing controversy. So we had people say some things on Facebook that they may not have normally said out loud, but they typed it out on Facebook. So, but everybody involved in the show has been very professional about that too. Nobody's lashed out. Nobody's called anybody names or said anything. We just respect people's opinions, but we're hoping that maybe we can change some of those opinions. But all people need to do is just come see the show, and hopefully that happens.
Okay. Now, what were the costs involved in bringing this show to Ludington?
That was a big thing when we first started talking about doing Rent. The most expensive show I think we'd ever done, I think, had a budget of about $2,000. And I was sitting down doing the budget for this show, and I got up to about $10,000. And you know, to put on a show for $10,000 is actually a very low cost. So that didn't really, me having a theater background, it didn't scare me, but I knew it would scare some people on our board as well as the Ludington Area Center for the Arts to just know that amount of money, because you have to know you're going to get it back too. You have to know if we're going to do this, we need at least break even, that way we don't lose anything on it. And so I really had to do some convincing to get them to know that I had pinched pennies to make 10,000 happen. So we got them to approve the budget at $10,000, and I went a little over budget, still a little over budget, but I think we're still going to come out well ahead in the show, just because we've had such a great support. People are giving us donations on top of their ticket prices just because they are happy that we're doing things like this here.
That's great. Now, how were the funds raised?
We had a couple sponsorships, so that was nice. We had some money in our own bank account that we had been saving up from the shows that we had done in the past. We've been doing shows since 2010. So we had just been building up. We'd always made money in every show we've ever done. So that was a really good thing. So every show we'd done, we had made something. So our bank account was going up bit by bit. We never made a big amount, but always a little bit. So it went up bit by bit. So we took every bit of money we had, and then we had a little bit of support from the Center for the Arts as well, helping us out financially. But mostly we sold season tickets for this season, got a lot of extra cash that way. And then as soon as we announced rent, people started buying tickets right away. So we never really had to dip into anything from the Center for the Arts. So it was always right from our own account. And so it's been kind of fun to watch that happen.
Now, did you have equipment donated?
All kinds of equipment. Oh man, we had all the mics, every bit of the miking equipment, the headsets, the wireless packs, the board, everything was donated for use. I mean, we can't keep it, but the college gave us some of their wireless mics. We got some from Mason County Central Schools. We got Mike Lasua, who's doing the sound. He brought in his own board, his own equipment, his own speakers, his own monitors. We had Katie Provenzano, who came in and offered to donate her time and her materials to do the video for us at the end of the show, which was just done beautifully. So we had that donated. We had our projector donated from Mason County Central Band, gave us the projector. We've had all kinds of things as far as the lights. A lot of these lights were donated by Adam Knudsen, and Mike Lasua had some of the lights who he donated as well. The scaffolding you can see on the sides of the set, all that was donated. Just a tremendous amount of people who came forward to say, what do you need? And we would give them a list, and if they had it, we had it. It was amazing. It was the same thing when we went back to saying how it was a controversial show and how is the community going to react to it. Just from the beginning, it's been positive. Everybody's just been wanting to help out, wanting to give us whatever they can, and you can see it when you come see the show because it's done so well with so many things that we could have never imagined to have, and we have it. So it's great.
Now, this is a large cast. How many people tried out for the play?
We had over 40 people audition for the show. So that's actually the most we had ever auditioned for any of one of our shows, which was amazing. It was amazing to have that amount. Even so, though, we weren't able to cast everybody. We have 14 in the cast. That's 14 cast members. And even with the people who auditioned, we weren't able to, we still had to make some phone calls. And I still had to get out my favor, use up some of my favors that some people owed me. So, because really this show is an opera. It's a rock opera. You have to be able to sing. You have to be able to, or at least fake it. You can't, if you can't match a note on a keyboard, and it's nothing against the people auditioned. They were all great, and I keep telling them how needed they are. They need to come keep auditioning. But in this show particular, we just couldn't just use anybody off the street. You just had to really have people that could at least match a note on a keyboard or on a piano. Because it's all song. It's all sung.
Now, for the cast, what was the time commitment as far as rehearsals?
The cast, we auditioned in late December. And from then on, we had rehearsals Monday through Thursday, I think, for the first couple weeks, but then it was Monday through Friday after the first couple weeks. So about 9 weeks of commitment, Monday through Friday, of basically, the first 4 weeks was all vocal. Every single night, we just vocally worked every aspect of the show. And then once we got through the first 4 weeks, we started doing the blocking, and then we started putting the set up. So, but they were here, they committed, I can't really even tell you a number of hours, because there was nights we were here till midnight working. They would get here at 7 o'clock. There was other people who would get here and work extra on their time, on their own time with piano players and things downstairs while we're up here. So it was just a tremendous amount of hours for them to spend on this show.
525,000
can't obviously thank them enough, because it was just, to expect anybody to do that is insane, but they all came in and they were troopers. They did it.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Now, you were fortunate to have live music. Were the musicians responsible for attending all the rehearsals as well?
No, they weren't here for all the rehearsals. I think they started about 3 weeks in, and they would meet once a week for the first couple weeks, just kind of learning the music. They met with our musical director, Tom Thomas, and went through the score. I mean, it's a 600-page score. I mean, this thing is massive. It's 2 big books of score, so they had a lot to go through. Usually in a musical, you won't get the band until a couple weeks before, and they've done some rehearsals before that, but we knew this with this show, they had to get at least looking at the music 6 weeks before, because it was going to be too much for them if they didn't start listening and looking at the music. So about 6 weeks out, they started, but we didn't actually have them until 2 weeks out.
Okay.
So 2 weeks before opening, they actually came on stage and started playing with us.
All right. Now, every cast member is mic'd in the show, and you've got lighting changes for every scene.
Yep.
How many crew do you have working this show?
We've got 2 people running a spotlights. We've got 2 different spotlights. We have 2 operators for that. We've got 1 person that is actually running the lights, doing all the rest of the lights, just 1 person. And then 1 other person that is running the sound. We have 1 guy who is running every single mic and every single band member through his board. And I mean, you're talking almost 20 channels that 1 person's running, and each instrument, including the drums, because the drums are electric, we have an electric drum set, are through the board. So he's running that constantly through the whole show, running everybody's mics and running the whole band. And he also does the sound effects for the show. The one nice thing, though, that we do have a person backstage on headset, and we do have a person out front calling the show. So basically, he's letting the light operator know you got a cue coming up, or letting the sound know, hey, we got a cue coming up for the sound effects, or I'm hearing something weird, can we check this person's mic, or letting the spotlights know that they have to be ready to hit a certain actor. So
It's amazing. Okay, the set looks fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Who was responsible for the design?
Well, I did a very rough sketch. I have no artistic bone in my body, but I did a very rough sketch of what I wanted, to see. But then we had Dave Swanson, who's just an amazing carpenter. He looked at it, and within seconds he goes, I got it. So he went home, made a material list, called Home Depot, and ordered all the supplies, had them delivered here, and he was in charge. We had people come out, and he basically said, told us what to do. He was the one with the vision. I did a rough sketch, but he was the one that really had the vision of how to make that happen.
Does all this equipment belong to the Lakeside Players?
No, really none. Almost none of it belongs to us. A lot of it's rented. Some of the lights that we do have here, we did rent from Adam Knutson as well, who donated a lot of time and a lot of lights on top of what we rented. There are some lights that we use up in the balcony up here that belong to the Ludington Area Center for the Arts. The spotlights belong to Ludington area schools. So the only thing that we own are the things that we bought for this show, which basically is the lumber to build the set. And that's about it.
Okay. So what advice would you give to another community who was interested in producing Rent?
I hope a lot of communities do. Nobody thought that a small little town of 8,000 people in Ludington, Michigan, Western Michigan, could pull off this show. It really deals with a lot of themes. It deals with, and really, the cast typically is a lot more diverse than ours, because we didn't have a lot of diverse people show up. We had a lot of white Caucasians people auditioning for the show. So typically it is a more diverse cast. But I think we proved it can be done with a set of white Caucasian Northern Michigan people, and be done well, and really get the points across that Jonathan Larson really wanted to show in the show. if you think you've got the vocal talent, if you think you've got the funds, try it. I mean, really, it's a great show. It needs to be done. Even if you sing it well, people are gonna like the show. But I also would say you definitely want to understand you're taking on a very, very big show, a very well-known show. So you're playing with fire there too. If it's not done right, it can bomb. It can bomb bad. So, the most important thing is just getting across the themes, getting across the messages that Rent was intended for. And if you think you've got that down, I'd say go for it.
For the Lakeside Players to continue to put on shows at this level, what's going to be required?
A lot of support. Just on a daily basis, I think I was doing a list of people who work on the show on a daily basis. And I'm not even including the people who take tickets to the door, pass out programs, run the concessions. Just the people that are here and have been here. We're dealing with, I think, almost 40 people that are here just doing something, makeup or helping dressing people, in the back, or acting, or the band, or running the crew, or things like that. So I mean, it's just crazy. That's a lot of people, and that's people that we have to count on for at least 6 weeks. Even out of a 9-week rehearsal, at least 6 weeks, we have to have every one of them involved at some aspect. So to be doing shows at this level, we have to continue to have volunteers and people who are committed to continue to volunteer after that too, because if you do one and then you go away, it's hard to get you back.
Yeah.
And theater requires a lot of people. It really does, and it's a lot of times a thankless job. When you're the person backstage dressing people or putting on the makeup, you're not out here taking the curtain call. You're not getting that glory that the actors get from the audience. When you direct shows, you're not getting the glory from the people. But to see what you can put on, to see, especially if you come see this, to see what it can become, it's just amazing. So we just need those people to understand that they're needed and they're appreciated, very much appreciated. But definitely we need people to keep coming back and volunteering.
So what's the next project?
Well, right after this, we've got to go to a theater competition in Kalamazoo. So next weekend, actually. So our show closes tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then Friday we're leaving for Kalamazoo for this theater competition where we're performing another play that was written by a friend of mine. So that there's no rest there. We're moving right on to that, and then as soon as we get back, we'll be auditioning for Baby with the Bathwater, which was written by Christopher Durang, which is going to be our last show of our season. And then we get to take a break for the summer. Right now we have nothing planned for the summer, but right now we're trying to figure out what our plans are for next season. Everybody keeps asking, how are you going to top this? How are you going to top this? And I keep telling people we're just going to retire after this. So, but in all seriousness, we do have a lot of really cool things that we're talking about possibly doing next year. So hopefully people stay interested and seek us out and figure out what we're doing, because even right now we're not sure, but it's going to be good.
Okay. So how can people in Ludington who are interested get involved?
The Ludington Area Center for the Arts has a lot of our information. If you go to ludingtonartscouncil.org, that will take you to the Ludington Area Center for the Arts website. And you can click on the theater tab, and that'll basically kind of talk about how you can get a hold of us. But probably the best way is through Facebook. I mean, everybody's using Facebook right now, and we do have a Facebook page. Just type in Lakeside Civic Players, Ludington, Michigan. We pop right up. We're really trying to build that right now, and that's where we make a lot of our announcements. We promote a lot of things that we're doing on there. And if you ask us questions, if you send us a message through Facebook, we will be getting back to, we're getting back to people within, hours. So it's not like it'll be a week or a day. Within hours, you'll get a response from one of us. We're always checking. We're always wanting to make sure we're getting as many people interested as we can.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this production, and we're looking forward to more amazing things from the Lakeside Players.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Take care.
You too.